Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, my love. Welcome back to the Rough Podcast for another episode. And if you're new around here, welcome. My name is Sam. I'm your host. And today I have a very special guest with me. We have Kit Volcano, and I'm so excited for this conversation because Kit is an internationally known coach, speaker, and healer based in San Diego, California. And he is the CEO and master coach of The Little Volcano and also a best-selling author alongside his wife, Rosie Volcano. They host their own special blend of transformation, healing, mischief, magic, and coaching, which often includes transforming your childhood wounds, creating quantum miracles, riding roller coasters, and owning your power as a business person and stepping into your brilliance and authenticity in all areas of your life. A really interesting fact is just 4% of female entrepreneurs to hit 1 million in revenue, and it's even more rare for trans entrepreneurs. So I'm so excited to have Kit here on the podcast. And Kit, just tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into all the goodness that is you.
Gosh, I think you just nailed it. It's interesting. I was finding the facts for how many females hit 1 million in revenue in their business, and there aren't even any. I couldn't even find any facts on how many trans people, especially after transgender people, reach 1 million in their business, because I don't know that that's very common. That's one of my roles I've been given in this world is to teach, to be a trailblazer and an example of success for trans people, to help break that like success stigma, like the success block, the cap, and just make it normal for us to be successful, for us to live in luxury, for us to have amazing lives. Often it's like until you see an example of someone doing it, it's really hard to do it. And I'm like, I got enough within me to be one of the first examples.
Yes. And I love that so much. Like, I love you to pieces. I was, stalking your Facebook and Instagram a little bit. So I love everything that you stand for. And, you're just so positive, and I love that so much. And one thing I would really love to dive into this conversation with you is some obstacles that you met while being a transgender entrepreneur in the online space. What were some really big things that got in your way that you had to overcome?
I'm going to be honest with you. Every single obstacle I've ever had is only in here. That is the number one source of all of my obstacles, because you shift the way that you think about something, it's no longer an obstacle. Everything I'm thinking, everything I'm fearing, everything I'm triggered about literally just starts coming into my life in just like heaping amounts of bullshit, teaching me what I need to hear.
As children, we're always taught to compare ourselves, and there's that comparison beast and our inner critic, which is obviously always telling us things that are negative. And whether it's things we've told ourselves or things that we've heard as we're growing up, we take those and we accept those as our truth. And then it really fucks with us, because then we have to deal with that imposter syndrome that comes out of that. And then it's really hard for you to overcome that and do what you want and do what you're passionate about until you challenge what's in your head and your mindset.
I think I can speak to like one of my early obstacles that a lot of people could probably relate to is when I first came out, I was very young as a lesbian, and I think I was, I guess young for the time, maybe like in my early 20s. The narrative around lesbians that we were just like it's in California where I was living and in Chicago where I live, is that lesbians didn't make a lot of money. I was going to school to be a hairstylist, and there was this really decorated gay man who was very poised and, from my perspective at that time, into himself. And he came and he taught a class about business to the other students and me in the cosmetology school. And he said something. He said, gay men will make the most money in cutting hair because women love having a man touch them, but they feel safe with them because they're not hitting on them. And then he said, men will be the next, then straight women will be next because you have a straight girlfriend, then straight men because they're mostly doing barbering. Lesbians won't make any money in this industry. You better quit now. And here's this person who is successful, wealthy in this industry, basically just like creating this belief for me. I think as a member of the LGBT community, we've been passed down messages that we can choose to adopt or not adopt. And I didn't know that from that frame of mind. I didn't know that. And, I almost quit. because of that. And later, as I realized, like, no, I get to choose my own reality. I get to choose if that's true or not. I escaped from that, but it definitely, like, having messages passed down to me around what was possible and what wasn't definitely helped create a lid on my success. Breaking out of the lid, breaking out of the expectations, breaking out of victim energy. There was a long time where I resented my family because they lived in San Diego. I chose to live in places where I could survive. And I resented them for living in one of the most expensive, beautiful places in the world. And I was like, I'm a lesbian. I'm not going to be ever going to be able to make as much money as you make. You should, come here and live this poor lifestyle with me because I can't get out of it because of this. Like, this is what I'm born into. This is who I am. We can't make it. You should, everybody should shift around me. As soon as I realized that I was creating my life based on that mindset and I was holding myself back from success because I believed that, is when everything changed. And I was like, no more. I can live whatever life I want. I can be successful. I need to choose it here first. I need to believe it here first. Even if I don't see examples of it, I can be the first example. And it's becoming, it's pretty damn true. And it's becoming more and more and more true every single day.
Oh, I love that so much. You are so inspiring. And I know each person that's going to listen to this episode is just going to be so inspired by you in multiple ways, because whether they own their own business or in their own career, it's living authentically to who you are. And that's how you find not only true happiness, but like you were explaining, is you found your own freedom. You created your own reality and was like, no, I'm not going to accept that as my truth. I get to create what my reality is. And I love that. That's true freedom and authenticity.
Yeah, and you have to stop making excuses as to why you can't, as to why you don't have, as to why you have it worse off than people, and start to decide that you need to be the one to break out of that narrative. It's really interesting. The thing is when you choose to break out of the narrative that everyone subscribes to, it's going to rock a lot of boats. It's going to upset a lot of people, because if they say you get out, that means they have to choose, or like, it means their truth that they're subscribing to is no longer, like, it's not completely true. That can really mess with people. It's a really interesting journey being the one to break out. And sometimes people will, like, attack you a little bit for that, or make excuses as to why you can do it and they can't. But what you need to shift is why you can do it and why you must.
Yes, it all comes back to that mindset piece and believing what you want your new reality to be. Because if you stay stuck in, like you said, that victim mentality, and it's like, oh, I was born into this, I can't get out of this. That's victim mentality. And if you stay there, you won't flower and blossom into this amazing human being that you were created to be, because you're getting stuck in your own current mindset. And when you break that, like you said, and you step out of that circle, yeah, it's going to rock a lot of boats within yourself, within your circle of friends and your family. But it all comes down to what is the best choice for you. If you're going to sit and live in this fake reality, or if you choose your own reality and lean into the person that you are meant to be and your true self.
Well, I mean, it's also crazy because all realities are real. We're talking about a subject, LGBTQ. Like, we're not exactly the most privileged group in the world. Other people have it worse off. You also get to choose. Am I subscribing to that belief, which is true for a lot of people, and it is absolutely real, or can I create a new reality that is also absolutely real? And
100%.
one of the craziest things that happened to me is I transitioned about 5 years ago, and I was living in North Carolina at the time. This is when I really decided everything was consciousness. And if I could change it in here, I could change it out there. I decided that I was going to go hog wild on that shit. And I was going to really not let anything in or out that wasn't the reality that I wanted. And then in North Carolina, they introduced the bathroom bill. And this is when I'm in the very beginning of my transition, where I'm looking very non-binary. Like, I had just like a few little chin hairs. I was starting to like puff up, like when you go on tea, like you kind of, you swell a little. A lot of people who would be introduced to me, they wouldn't know how to gender me. So I'm in a very let's call it dangerous place to be physically presenting to be in North Carolina. While there's the bathroom bills, there's, a lot of people are, they're like fearing for their lives. A lot of trans people were fearing for their lives. People were like, hey, sending me messages like, if you need to move, if you need to get out of there, if you need a safe place, come to my state, you can come live with me. And I decided to really put this consciousness thing that I decided I was going to subscribe to the test. And that's when life changes for you. And I was like, my new truth is that I'm safe wherever I go. My new truth is safety lives within me. My new truth is that I'm loved, embraced, and I am accepted wherever I go. That was all that I said all day long in my mind and my heart. I always found a way to access inner safety. Like right now, you could tell a story that you're not safe because of what's going on outside in the world. Or you could be like, no, actually, I'm sitting at home on a computer. There is no threat of violence right now. I am safe wherever I go, and it is true right now. It will be true forever and always. And that is what I told myself. And it was true 100%. And anytime I had a sliver of it not being true, I use that as a reason to turn back into what is true, is that I create my own reality. And this is showing me that I'm not believing somewhere. This is showing me I have something to heal within me. This is showing me I get to grow. I never had a problem. Even though by all appearances I should have, I never had a problem. Everywhere I went, I was so loved and celebrated and supported and taken care of. And, consciousness and intuition are a crazy thing. If you are believing that, it will literally be the thing that makes you turn right instead of left. It'll literally be the thing that helps you dodge an accident or something dangerous instead of going right towards one. And I was fine. I had a gay old fucking time during that season in North Carolina. I was safe. I was loved. I was celebrated. And ever since then, I was like, I have no reason to worry. I am the creator of my world, and anything that is happening is within my control.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that also sounds like a little bit of manifestation from my own experience, and other things that I've learned about manifesting is, you say those positive affirmations to yourself, and, it creates this new reality, this new truth that, like you said, like you weren't bothered and there were other things going on in your state. And then, you're saying all these positive things to yourself and manifesting that, I'm always safe everywhere I go, no matter where I go, I'm always going to be safe. And you were always manifesting safety for yourself. So I love that you shared that tip with, each listener that gets to listen to this episode, so that they can do that for themselves as well. If they ever feel unsafe, they can, take you as a prime example that it worked for you, and it can totally work for them as well.
Yeah. Another crazy thing that happens is, and this one is completely radical. We'll fuck with some people's paradigms for sure. Women versus men, female privilege versus male privilege, or female disadvantage versus male privilege. It totally exists. It also exists because we give it permission to exist within here. When I transitioned and I started passing, I could literally, I can still create the experience that a woman has every single day presenting male. That women who are like, I get treated like crap. This is what happens to me. I can literally still create that experience for myself, even though I have white male privilege, because it's something that is an expectation in my mind and a belief in my mind from being socialized female that still comes back, gets mirrored back to me. And I started realizing, like, wait a minute, this is true. And also, it's still true even in my masculine presenting form. Something else is going on. And it was my energy. It was my belief about myself. I can shift when I shift that, and I believe that I'm worthy, and I believe that I can have whatever I want, and I believe that I'm respected, and I believe that I'm embraced in the ways that we say men are when they're privileged, then it happened. But when I go back into my old programming and I slip back into my old way of being, I still get treated as if I did when I was a young, surly lesbian.
So it still all comes back to mindset. Like that is, I think, probably the number one obstacle that everyone deals with, whether it's on a daily, weekly basis. That's pretty much the number one thing that's holding back so many people, and they don't even realize it. Oh, I'm broke. I can't save any money. I can't afford this. Well, it's all about your mindset.
I think the scariest thing is to realize that we actually have more power than we do, because the minute we realize that we do have that power, it also comes comes with a lot of responsibility to actually own it. Sometimes it's easier to pass the buck of our power off onto someone else.
Totally. It does take a lot of responsibility. The moment that even I took responsibility of my finances, and it's like, oh, I'm the one who's spending all this money. I'm the reason that, I don't have any savings. And then I started saving and I have probably 5 or 6 different savings accounts now. It's like, that was all about my mindset. I had to change the way that I looked at my situation. I had to change the way I looked at myself. And I had to take responsibility for the fact that I fucked up in so many different ways. And you have to own that.
Yeah. But also, what is the thinking and the beliefs that caused the fuck up?
That
you
too.
go and you pick that apart, you go and you transform that, you'll make brand new decisions.
Exactly. Because when you make decisions about one thing, it's how you make decisions about most things or everything else. So you have to figure out how you make decisions, and then that's going to change everything.
Fight for your limitations. You get to keep them. Such a tagline, but it's true.
Everyone is told by when they're growing up about certain things that you can accept as your truth. And especially for you in the LGBTQ plus community, that there were certain things that you would accept as truth and rewrote for yourself. I would love for you to share how you don't allow your clients to do that for themselves either.
Well, I think sometimes we get, like in the coaching world, there's so much sensitivity around the empathy that you give people and the understanding and making sure people feel heard and seen. And oftentimes when people come to me with their limitations, I just laugh at them.
Ooh.
I don't make them a big deal. If you make something a big deal as a coach, you give it more energy.
That's right. You give it more power.
You do. Me as a coach, I see this like with baby coaches, like getting caught up in the emotion of their clients' limitations and fears and taking it to mean that they're a bad coach. And they do that and they actually become a coach that is a lid to their clients. But when my clients come to me with limitations and I don't make them a big deal, they actually get to rise up to my expectation that they're not a big deal. And they're like, and then solutions come and answers come. And transformation comes really fast when you don't make things a big deal.
Yeah, because then it doesn't feel like this huge burden anymore. And it takes away almost that crutch that it's like, oh, well, I can never overcome this. And then you take away that power and it's like, oh, well, there's multiple things that we could do to fix this or to not do that.
Well, and, humans don't always know it. Sometimes they use their problems as currency to get something. They'll use their trauma as currency to get compassion or to get out of something. And it's not everybody. With your clients, you'll start to see patterns. They'll use their money stories as currency to stay small because breaking out of the fold is threatening to love and survival. They'll use, this was a good one that I had with a client. They'll use their whining, their constant, incessant whining as a way to get everybody just to give them what they want or to be like, there, you can have, like, it's true. And I remember I had one client just whined about everything so much that it just sucked the life out of everybody. And finally I was just like, that's not going to work on me.
Mm-hmm.
No, like, I see that you have a problem and like, it's not, you're making this really real and everyone is suffering around you because of this pattern and it's working on them, but it's not going to work on me. It's I think I'm literally one of the first people in their life that was like, it doesn't work on me. No. And they had to shift it and their life changed after that.
Exactly. As coaches, we're supposed to tell people what they need to hear and not what they want to hear. Because when they get what they want to hear, they stay where they are and they don't grow. But we see it from an objective perspective and it's like, this is what's holding you back, or like, this is what the actual problem is. And then they can grow substantially.
But it's also to hold the vibration of expectation of change. If you as a coach expect change and hold that vibration, it actually becomes possible. Problems aren't problems. They're jokes. Nothing is that serious. Because if you do believe that things are going to change and you do believe that you are safe and you do believe that everything is okay and you do believe that money is on the way, it's like stomping in a puddle and it getting everywhere. You can laugh at it.
So the main messages from today's episode is to get out of your head, to shift your mindset, because you are pretty much unfucking stoppable when you change your mindset, making sure that, you don't stay small.
And also like dig into what do you get out of expecting crappiness in your life? Because you get something from that. But
Yeah,
what are you trading that for? You might get approval from your friend group. You might be trading approval for your friend group from actual expansion and soul purpose. And the friend groups that you attract when you are in soul purpose and expansion are so much more fulfilling. But
exactly.
it can be incredibly threatening to let go of an identity that keeps you safe, that is predictable and is the belief of everyone else around you.
So many powerful golden nuggets today. I have loved this conversation so much. You are such a beacon of light in this world, and I'm so grateful to have connected with you online, to have this conversation, and to share this message with the world. Thank you so much, Kit, for joining me, sharing all of your golden nuggets, your wisdom. And is there anything you would love to add before we wrap everything up?
Yeah, I think this is important to add. Sometimes life does suck.
It does, but you got to move forward.
Sometimes life does suck. And if there are some days where you like, or months or periods where you're just really fucking sucking at the mindset thing, where you're not getting it, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that you suck. It doesn't mean that you're unworthy. Light will shine through the clouds at some point or another. Often it just means that there's something that you want to say yes to that you're not letting yourself say yes to.
I love that so much. And if anyone would love to connect with Kit online, I have all of his links in the show notes. You can follow him at Kit Volcano or at The Little Volcano, and I'll have all the links in the description.
If you're in San Diego, we're starting to do monthly things called a miracle coaster. There's a whole nother story. I'll be real quick about it. So miraclecoaster.com, we're starting to do monthly miracle coasters, and this is something that my wife and I do in our business, and it's a fucking fuck ton of fun. It's a really easy way to manifest. Basically, when you go, like, one of the best ways to receive what you want is to let go of your identity. It's to let go of the thoughts of limitation, the thoughts of societal programming, let go of worries, let go of fears. As soon as you let go of those, you have access to so much more, because those are the things that are actually blocking you from a lot from what you want. And so we created this radical way to let go and manifest really fast. It's on a roller coaster, because when you're on a roller coaster, you have no time to worry about the dog pee that you stepped in the night before, the scratch on the car, any scarcity thoughts that you have. So Rosie and I, if you come to one of our challenges, we have a challenge called the Get Yourself Together Challenge. We do that 3 times a year. GetYourselfTogetherChallenge.com. You come to our challenges, you'll learn the big story of this. But we've basically developed this method where you go on a roller coaster, you release your dreams to the world. It's like literally instant manifestation of things. And now we're doing them on group coasters, where we go and we do big group miracles for something outside of ourselves. And we've done this and people have healed stage 4 pancreatic cancer. They've healed brain tumors. People have gotten went from living out of their cars to getting a 6-figure job overnight. Crazy, wild stuff happens on these coasters. And so now, just like as a community building thing, there's a coaster in San Diego called the Big Dipper. And we're going to start going monthly and just getting together groups to create group miracles for people. Just fun to be in magic and be in miracles. And the next one we're doing is July 13th at 11 a.m. And if you're rewatching this, just get connected with me on Facebook, start following us, and we'll be doing more in the future.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. I will have to come down to the US sometime and check that out when this conversation has been so beautiful. So thank you again for sharing all your wisdom. I love you so much, and I'm excited to still be connected with you online and meet you in the future for one of your roller coaster miracle adventures in San Diego.